Welcome back to Brambleberry Cottage, everybody.
Welcome, everyone. We are in another week. We're in March.
We're staying March today. Happy March.
Yeah, this is exciting. Happy March. We are this week doing a Fix-It episode where we're kind of going back and fixing some of the mistakes we might have made or...
Little things around the house that need fixing.
Yeah,
right?
Things that need fixing. So one of the things this week is we are, why don't you talk about the most important one?
We're going to be venting the fridge. When we built our built-in around the fridge, we were really thinking about storage was our main objective, was having a nice, and also aesthetics. We wanted it to look nice and we wanted it to store all of our stuff. And what we didn't think of was ventilation for the fridge. We kind of boxed in the fridge, not giving it any room to breathe. So that's one thing we'll be tackling this week, is basically I'm going to be cutting into that cabinet that's above the fridge and kind of creating a chimney in the back of that cabinet to give the fridge some breathing space. So.
Yes, and honestly, we probably wouldn't have thought of that, figured that out on our own. So we have to thank one of our subscribers that mentioned that to us. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
They had done this themselves and they had learned that they needed to vent it. And I was very grateful that they passed that information on because we wouldn't have known that. We might have burned out the motor. It would have gotten very heated back there.
Shorter lifespan anyways for the fridge. So.
Yeah, so it needed proper ventilation, so thank you so much. You know who you are. I wanted to show you in this episode how I clean the bricks mainly behind our oven and stove, the backsplash. That was really important because a lot of people are asking, and I'm glad, they were great questions. I would have asked the same. How are they holding up? So here we are, probably about, 5 months now since we've done the backsplash behind the stove. And everywhere it's holding up great. Behind the oven and the stove area, it is getting a little bit worn, a little bit yellowed, but it's not ridiculously yellow. It's just a little bit fading a little bit. So one of the reasons we didn't add the polyurethane, which a lot of people are wondering why we didn't do a top coat. The reason we didn't is because even with that, it tends to yellow in time. Anytime I use white paint on anything, whether it's furniture, basically on any surface, it tends to do that. So we opted not to do that. If it gets real bad, obviously we will look into a protectant over it, and obviously possibly even touching up the paint and the grout. We haven't needed to do that. I'm pretty aggressive with the cleaning, and none of the paint comes off. So it does stay nice and true with the paint, and it doesn't rub off, and also it hasn't really yellowed. Again, it's only been about 5 months, so after a few years, possibly. But stay with us and we'll let you know every step of the way. If you are wanting to do this yourself, I say go for it. I have not seen anything terrible happen to the color. No major discoloration, no flaking off. It's been great. So obviously a quality paint really does help. And prepping your surfaces properly with prime and all of that, and making sure it's dried properly before you prime it. All of that is very key. But really I haven't needed anything as of this moment, and we're about 5 months in. So that was an important thing I wanted to address because a lot of people had questions, and frankly, I wanted to know too. So I usually do clean my walls during spring cleaning, even during fall cleaning a lot, but definitely during spring cleaning. And unless something like, we used to get candles that would have leave a lot of soot behind. We now get soy-based candles.
Right.
On occasion, someone will gift us a candle and it will leave a lot of soot, so I still have to do that, but pretty much 98% of the time we do the soy-based candle. So I haven't had to clean our walls as often, except for the fall and spring cleaning for dust and debris. So that will add to that. The brick cleaning will be part of that. And as of yet, I've not seen anything major. So we wanted to tackle that.
So you're going to be cleaning those bricks this week, and
we'll
see how they turn out?
Okay. Yes, so we'll be doing that I'm a talker, so I'm going on, and he kind of reins me in and tells me, so is that what you're saying? So,
Well, I just want to
yes.
make sure I understand it.
No. Even he doesn't understand. Sorry folks, you'll get to know me in time and realize I'm a talker. Anyway, so stay with me here on my little rant here. So with the, that's with the brick, and then we did the vent for the fridge.
Also, what we'll be doing is replacing one of the inlet hoses of our washing machine. We know when I was doing the renovations, I noticed one of them has maybe a slight leak, a tiny little drip, a little bit. So we're going to nip that in the bud before it gets any worse. We shut off the water between loads when we're not using the washing machine. We always shut off the water.
I think honestly a good thing to do anyway.
Yeah. But so just to nip that in the bud before the hose gets any worse, we're going to replace that.
Yes, that's something we don't want to mess with because, to have a flood in the basement, any kind of a leak, boy, it can promote mold. It's really a bad situation. You don't want to mess around with.
Leaks are no joke.
Yeah, no, they are not. We've had our share in time. So obviously you want to tackle that. So yes, we will be doing that. What else are we doing?
Pretty much anything we stumble across and it's a quick and easy fix, we'll probably address that this week.
Yes, we do have obviously life around us that we have to get things done. So we're going to tackle as much as we can. We will have another Fix It episode next week as well, and possibly a project that may present itself during that time. We're doing that for March, a lot of Fix It episodes, a lot of like, hey, this is what's been going on since we've done these projects. We'll give you an update on a lot of things. Right. Not all of March, but a lot of March will be about that because we want to show you how things are working out.
Also, you're going to be attacking the coffee bar this week, right?
Yes, I'm going to be attacking it. Yes. The coffee bar has been getting a little yellowed, again, with that polyurethane. It can do that with white paint. So I will be sanding it down. I will be cleaning it off and then putting another couple of layers of white paint. This time I will omit the polyurethane and see what happens. I'm also going to be adding like maybe a little bit of a cover, a topper for certain sections of it. So maybe we can eliminate the coffee stains. It's a little bit of a pain that I have to do that and then take it out and clean it and change it out every so often, but worth it to me in the end because I don't want to have to keep painting it. So I will be tackling that. And I think that's pretty much it this week. We are keeping it kind of small as we have a lot going on in our lives this week. All good things, just very busy. So stay tuned and see what we have going on this week.
Cheers.
So today we're going to do a little bit of a cleaning project in the kitchen. I'm going to be cleaning my kitchen. If you want to stay for the montage, that's great. If you don't, that's okay. But what I do want to do today especially is show you, we're getting a lot of questions about how we clean our brick. Has it been holding up for a few months now that we've been doing this since we did this project? Did it hold up? Well, yes, mostly. We don't, like I said earlier, in other videos, I don't generally do I don't do any deep frying, but I don't generally do any kind of light frying or, sauteing, anything like that. I do that, but I don't do it as often. But behind the stove, it has tended to discolor a little bit, kind of like a grayish, yellowish, not super yellow or anything. And again, I don't do a lot of that kind of cooking. If you do, I recommend maybe you want to coat it with something like a polyurethane. You definitely want to look for something that's non-yellowing. The problem with polyurethane, even when it says specifically it doesn't discolor anything, they do tend to do that in time, especially when there's a heat source in front of it for some reason. But anything you paint white and you put a polyurethane over it, it does tend to discolor in time, kind of right away, but even in time, it gets a little worse through time. Anywho, so what I'm going to do is show you how I clean this. We did not put any sort of topping over it because of that reason. I don't regret doing this brick at all. I still think it looks great. I love it. Yes, it's going to be a little more work for me to clean it often, but it's totally worth it for me. And it's just in this area. Although fall and spring cleaning, I will clean all the brick. Just, that's my preference. I like to have it, the whole house dusted and super clean. But this particular area I will do more often, obviously. And I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try, I had done like a baking soda and vinegar mix, and it did pretty well, but it does, you know, get dirty fast, and it didn't totally make it white, the grout again. So now I'm going to do a peroxide on a rag and see if I can get that white again. If that doesn't work, I'll try a baking soda and water solution, rinsing in between each thing I do, and then I'll do a little bit of a cleaning with a Dawn soap. Dawn is great for getting out grease stains. So let's see how we do. Just the peroxide alone has definitely whitened it a little bit. Again, it wasn't really bad because I don't tend to cook greasy foods, but just the action of baking in the oven and the heat output that comes from it, and all of it, you know, all of the juices and whatnot, moisture and condensation, all of that coming from the oven and the stove and splatters, it tends to discolor it slightly, and just in time it can do that. So the peroxide helped it a lot, and again, it wasn't that bad after all. You may have to do it more regularly if you do a lot of deep frying or sauteing or cooking. That would, you know, leave a stain of some sort. So now, just to be safe, I'm going to now on top of this do a Dawn and water soap clean. So I've just put a little bit of this Dawn, well, a decent amount actually, a decent amount of the Dawn dish soap, and mixed it with water. You can just do it in a bucket. I did it just to make sure it had a good amount of soap on it, which means I'm gonna have to rinse again, but totally worth it. Use a different rag every time, just so it, you know, makes sure not to get anything back on there, and it gives it, ensures it the best clean. So now I'm just going over it with water, warm water, just to get that soapy residue off. Just so you know, this is a rag I had, it's getting thrown out after, from when we had done joint compound and other painting projects. I don't want you to think the paint's coming off, because it is not. So behind the stove can get really, really gross. So I'm using a Dawn and warm water solution. It won't totally get rid of it, but I'm actually going to put on some gloves, which I should have worn for the brick cleaning, as especially when you do hydrogen peroxide, it can kind of burn your fingers. So just the Dawn is not making much of a difference on the stove. This is really caked on. So even if you kind of put elbow grease into it, it doesn't quite do a good job. So I'm gonna use that as a last resort. So what I'm gonna do now is do my, if I can get through here, I'm gonna use a little baking soda along with that Dawn solution. So we get like a good scrub in here. Do have to use a little elbow grease. Really sticky gooey, and these are from people who don't do a lot of frying. So imagine if you did this, if you fried a lot of foods, how yucky this would be behind here. So we did our baking soda, and now we're going to do our Dawn dish soap. It is not going to be perfect because it is stuff that gets really caked on, and I know I could probably work a little harder and get this like brand new looking, but I don't have the time or the patience. But I know it's clean. I know I've scrubbed the best I can, and with my arthritis, I am not going to cause pain to deal with later. So it's much better, and it doesn't feel greasy and gooey. A lot of this is just staining that I'm sure if I worked harder I could get out, especially as I get lower here, but I don't have the time or patience. If you can see in the camera here, it's a lot cleaner, and it really wasn't that hard. I didn't have to do a lot of elbow grease. Not here on the brick. On the stove I did, but not here on the brick. But here's away from the stove. And there's the stove area. See, it's really no difference at all. So a few things that are going to happen in the future. This countertop is going to change as it was inherited from my mother when she redid her kitchen. It was cut a certain way for her kitchen, so we had to kind of, we successfully carried it here. It stayed intact, everything was great, but we left it out overnight and it got really dewy and moist on the ground in the summer. And unfortunately that kind of started to break apart the stone as it was standing up. And even though it was on the heaviest part of it, it tended to work its way up to the weakest points of the counters. Unfortunately, when we picked it up and needed to cut a little bit for our kitchen, unfortunately. And we did get a special blade for our saw. It was great. However, it broke and cracked. So we had to piece a lot of it together, and we've been living with it since, as we had laminate before this, and it was awful and ugly and falling apart too. But this has been great to have granite, but it's a color that we are not really happy with. But also it just cracked, and we really just kind of glued it together, fixed it. We did call a company to see if they would come and fix the cracks and maybe make it brand new and start to do the edging here, where she had a rounded edging and we had to cut it. It's more of a straight. We asked them if they could maybe do this and also fix our cracks near the sink here. And we had to piece together pieces. Could they put it all together? They do repair and fix granite, but they wouldn't for us. A lot of companies that we had called would not do it because we didn't personally purchase it from them. And it wasn't under warranty, I guess, maybe. I don't know. But we were so heartbroken and kind of disappointed. But so we're going to do something in the future. Wait and see for that. Not this episode, but we will be doing it at some point in the spring or summer. Our compost bin, we had bought that from Aldi's, and it was great. Unfortunately, it's ceramic. So guess what happened? The top had fallen off and broken and cracked into lots of pieces. So we still use it, but I would prefer one with a cover. So that'll probably be changing at some point, but disappointed in that because it's a great compost bin, and ceramic, it won't kind of absorb the scents, the odors from the food and permeate back into the kitchen. However, we don't have a cover, so the odors are coming into the kitchen anyway. So we literally empty this many times a day, so we don't have the scents going through the home. And then my husband had bought me this great Norfolk pine plant. I really love it. We had one when we were young and it got very tall. This was unfortunately not doing well. It wasn't taken care of very well, and at a Home Depot or a Lowe's, I don't remember, and it was just overwatered, and it's very brittle and dying. We have tried leaving it dry for a while. We have tried watering it. We've tried out of the sun, in the sun. If any of you know plants very well, we would love your advice, because we really don't want to lose this guy. He's such a pretty plant, and I would love to save him, but he's very brittle and pieces of it are falling off regularly, although some are feeling okay. Should I trim the parts that aren't doing well? I'm not sure. If any of you have a heads up, I would really appreciate this, because it's such a sweet plant and we love it. Our soap container is from a soap that a body wash and soap that we had gotten from Thrive, which we get regularly, and I had taken the peel off, the label off, which was very easy, and with hot water and the soap and a little bit of WD-40, we were able to get that stickiness off, and I've now utilized it for dish soap right at the counter here, which is great. Always recycle and reuse your materials. We love the look of it. It has a black squirt at the top, and it's a brown bottle. It's a great opportunity to reuse, guys, especially because it's plastic. So also our toaster oven has seen better days. This is actually our older one. Thankfully we had saved it. We had gotten a new one and it just didn't work. All of a sudden it stopped working. It was not under a warranty anymore. So luckily, because we ordered it through Amazon, Amazon didn't honor, because it was just about a year old, and they did honor it, as we had made several attempts. So they did honor it, and we were able to get money back, which allowed us, if you remember from past episodes, to get a small metal shed to place some other things outside. So luckily we brought up our old one, but I am in the market for a new toaster oven. We'll be shopping for that soon as well. So that's just a few notations there. So I clean this sink daily. I do either a bone of meat or bar keeper's friend, depending on how caked on stuff is. But I do this regularly, like every single day. And I always kind of finish it off with a spray on top because it smells really nice and it gives it a little bit of an extra top layer of clean and make sure all that grit is gone. But I make sure I rinse it pretty good, then use that, and then rinse it again. So these grates that are in here, we do this every 1 to 2 days, depending on what we've cooked in there, and if we're around a lot. We clean these every single day, sometimes every 2 days, depending on what we're cooking. And we place them in our dishwasher and clean them that way. As well as this little caddy I have, I clean this, and the scrubbies in here, I clean these as well usually every couple days, unless something's really grimy. So here on this counter, and a couple of our counters in the kitchen, it's driving Paul and I crazy. We will be changing out these outlets to match. It looks dirty because it's like a beige. It's just really yucky looking. So we are going to be changing those out so they match the white here, and it'll look a lot nicer, a lot cleaner. It is clean, but it's just gucky looking because of the change in color. So I have this bin I got from Grove. When you sign up for Grove, I am not sponsored by them at all. I just want you to know what a great company they are with great products. With Grove, they give you, when you sign up, a little caddy usually. It may have changed. They may be giving out something else, but there's always a free gift, and they place items in the caddy, and you get this little free gift for ordering your first order. It's a great thing. And I think you have to spend $30 to get the free shipping, maybe $25, I don't remember. But anyway, you usually order once a month, but you can put off your ordering. It's a great company, but they have great products, and they're really trying to better the environment by, I believe it's by 2025, they want to go plastic free, which is awesome. So anywho, they have this caddy, and I usually put some fruit in here, maybe some bread products, whatever I have on hand. I'm placing the avocados here because if you know about avocados, you know, if I forget them at the bottom of here, they're going to be ruined. So you blink for a second and they go bad. So that's why. Anywho, so then this brick seems to be pretty clean, and just wanted to make a note of this vase here, this hurricane vase. This hurricane vase I had gotten, which I love. I'm so excited. I'm so sad that that little store down in our town, on our main street in our town, had basically closed down because they decided to do more of a flea market type of business. But they had a great little shop, and when they were going out of business, here anyway, not totally, but when they were leaving their location here, they had a huge clearance. And I had grabbed this hurricane vase, I believe, for like $3, guys. I'm not kidding you. It was really, really cheap, and I love it. It's this very, very tall. I don't know if you can tell by the size of it from the counter to the cabinet, but it is very large. And every season I place something new in this. And now we're kind of in the in-between before spring, so I put some pine cones here, and I love it. And I clean this cylinder vase every time I refill it, but I do tend to clean the outside of it and take care of it. If it gets really yucky inside, I just clean it out with soap and water, rinse it, dry it, and put things back in it, just so you have an idea. But it could work as a nice vase as well. It's great. So this outlet is the same thing. We're going to change that out as well. So that's the second one. I'm going to organize this drawer as it's a disaster. I'm gonna clean it out and I'm gonna find a better way to organize it, and I think I'm going to have to downgrade some of the things in here, meaning I'm going to have to maybe get rid of some of the excess and place somewhere else, and anything that I feel we don't need anymore, we don't use, I'm getting rid of. The best tip I can give is getting rid of everything out of the drawer. Don't worry about separating early on. I'm going, okay, keep toss, you'll be here forever. So just get rid of everything out of the drawer first. These were excess silverware that I had nowhere to put, and it's just looking really messy. And things just get stuck and caught in the back. Ugh. Clean that out. So I'm going to just put back what I really use. So we have a grater. That doesn't fit in there, so we're going to have to get a different place for that. Frother. We have our two main peelers that we use often. Grater there. Some things I use, but I can't fit in there right now. So, can opener. Okay, so that makes a big difference. I will still keep this because those are the tips I use for my baking, and we use this to cut biscuits. And these skewers and these reusable wooden straws from Grove, I do use these. There we go, what a difference. I did place some Dawn dish soap in there. I just kind of squeezed it in there, and I'm just filling it with warmish water, bordering on really hot, just to give it a good soak for a few minutes. And while I'm waiting for a few minutes for that to soak, I'm going to dwindle this down a little bit. I'm going to leave 6 knives in there. There's 3 of us now living at home, so 2 a day is fine. I do basic, I was going to say laundry. I do dishwashing, run my dishwasher. I do that every day. Sometimes 2 to 3 times a day, so I know we'll have plenty to use. These, I'm going to use what we have because it seems to suffice, as well as the dessert forks. It's just the knives that are hard to fit in there. The spoons as well, because we go through those a lot, and honestly, it's just, you know, it doesn't take up a lot of space. 6 of these as well. The excess I'm going to place in a different drawer in my buffet. And I have these soup spoons. I will keep, because I do use those often. Little forks, I still use, but they'll go into a different drawer. These special cheese and butter knives go somewhere else. The extra knife. Now the serving spoons is a different story. I use those every day. We usually use them up till they're gone. So I will actually put those away in our drawer. Special bottle opener and spoon. It's for cocktails. I'll put down with my cocktails. It ended up here somehow. My teaspoons, I will keep those because I use these. These other teaspoons I will put away because I don't use these as often. These soup ladles I'll put somewhere else because I don't use that regularly. So now we're going to clean that out. A little soap on my cloth. Really get in there and clean it. And wear it. It's just a plastic one that I had grabbed years ago from Walmart. I believe it was Walmart, but that type of store. But you can grab it anywhere. But honestly, I'm really hoping to grab a wooden one soon because I like the wooden one. They're nicer and they do stay nice and clean. And also they really look nice in the drawer as well as hold things in really nicely. And I just think they're better quality. But this plastic one has held up for many years. And these silverware, I go through a lot of these every day, so they're washed every single day. So I'm not going to do a deep clean unless I notice any of them are yucky. But I will say, I just recently cleaned out the dishwasher from the night before. There were a lot of these in there, so that helps. These I will have to keep on the side, but I am thinking about maybe placing them in with the frother. So they're in there now. Maybe I'll put these here as well, the serving. Along with the skewers. I don't use the skewers that often, but I'll put the straws here. This can open up here. And there we go. So much cleaner and neater. Organizing. So I'm about to do the coffee bar. It's just been really kind of filthy, leaving coffee rings, and it's not real wood. So, and honestly, even with wood, it tends to do this. It can leave a stain with white paint. So I've cleaned it up, I've sanded it the best I could. So now I'm just gonna give it a little touch up and we'll see when it's done what I decide to do. I may sand it down a little bit to get it still give it that rustic look, but I may just leave the paint on top just to give it layers of protection. So here we go. I'm at the end of this paint here, and I'm trying to use it up, but I will go to the other one once it's done. But I think I have a good coverage on the top here. Unfortunately, with old paint, you get these like pieces of dried paint. I call them paint boogers, and it's kind of getting a lot of that in it, so it's driving me a little cuckoo. But anyway, I'm going to touch that up and kind of see if there's anywhere else I need to touch up, and then we'll take it from there. While I'm touching up, I'm not being very specific about this because I like that rustic look. So I'm just kind of lightly brushing it on in different spots to cover up anything that's starting to yellow or get dingy looking. But I'm leaving a little bit of that rusticness there because I like that look. And anything that's painted on too much later, I can go back and sand it off. So here we are, we just have a little bit of a whiter, more touched up spot, but it is a little bit different than the rest of it, but I like that. It all matches well, the whiteness of it, but the rusticness part of it, I'm keeping that, so I'm very happy to see that still. And there we go, we're gonna let it dry and we're gonna set it back up. It should be fine. Every now and then it's okay to touch up your furniture again. I know it's a little tedious, but so worth it.
can't really see it on camera, but the finish on our kitchen table has gotten a little, it's got some imperfections in it. There's some glitter embedded in it. I'm just gonna give it a light sand, and we're gonna give it a quick coat of polyurethane.
Paul just sanded this down for me, and we got all that glitter from the holiday projects, and also just this gucky feel to it, and it was just getting to the point where it just needed a good resand. We did not affect the color too much because it was a light sanding, and I'm really glad because I still like the coloring on this. So I'm just doing another matte polyurethane coat. Probably going to take a couple coats, but just again to give it that protection now that we've resanded it. Just kind of getting everything ready for the spring. I'm doing a kind of a refresh of everything. Sometimes furniture and stuff needs a little touch up. A refresh. It's good that it goes on almost like a little white so you can see where you're going, but it's okay if you miss the spot here and there. We're going to do a couple coats anyway, but I like that you can kind of see what you're doing so you have some direction. Always go with the grain and try to brush the whole length of it so you don't get like choppy brush strokes, and if you do that, just go over it again so it's not choppy. This will dry matte because we like the matte polyurethane. I like the sheen for some things, but this in particular, this style, especially with the farmhouse look, we want more of a matte finish. There you go, that's the first coat. And just you can see, it's a Varathane Ultimate Polyurethane. It's water-based, so you can use a paintbrush and it will wipe off just fine. And it's a matte finish. So that's the first coat, and we'll probably do 2, maybe even 3 coats. We'll see how it goes, and it'll give it a nice protection. Just every now and then, if you do this, make sure to update it. Every now and then it just needs a good sanding and a refinish.
When we had created this built-in around our fridge, we were thinking solely of storage and style. A sharp-eyed viewer had pointed out that we didn't leave enough ventilation for our fridge. So now's the time to remedy that. As you can see, I've got a hole in the top of the cabinet here. I'll show you the top here. I've got a long kind of a trench, a long rectangular opening there. And I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom of the cabinet here to mirror the one above. And then we're going to put up a false back on this cabinet and leave that whole back area for ventilation for the fridge down below. So as you can see, well, maybe you can't see too well here, but we have a chute that goes straight up there from the top of the fridge up to the top of the cabinet. where the heat can escape and the fridge can have some ventilation. What I'm going to do next is attach a false back to this cabinet, you know, at the front edge of that cut that I just made. So that'll be the new back of the cabinet. So I've just installed the frame. See 2 side pieces and a center piece here. Then I'm going to attach the false back to it. Okay, this is our new shortened cabinet. The piece of glue on I had was slightly narrower than I needed. So, as you can see, it doesn't extend all the way to the top and bottom, but it'll stop anything from sliding back. So basically, underneath here, you can see there's kind of like a chimney going up from the back of the fridge all the way up, which should provide the ventilation we need. Now it's time to clean up.
Well, there you have it, folks. Another week. Not too much going on, but
not much, but
yeah.
enough.
The one thing that I know we said in our introduction was we're going to redo the water hose. That unfortunately didn't happen because we had to order that, and hopefully, the thing with ordering is hopefully it'll be in on time next week, but we do have to get that fixed. So that's the one thing that didn't.
Right, they didn't have the right size at Home Depot. So.
But we did fix the fridge vent.
Yep.
And we did fix, oh, and then I fixed the coffee bar. So we did stuff. Yeah. So we did a lot of stuff. But anyway, that was our Fix It episode. Next week, we're going to continue with the Fix It episode.
A few more things to do, yeah.
A few more things to do. And then after that, we're going on a vacation.
Vacation time.
Yes.
Yep.
So we will be taking a week off. Not next week, not this next coming episode after this, but the week after that. So in 2 weeks, we will be on a vacation, a small vacation to see my niece get married. Our niece is getting married in Ohio, and we're so excited. We haven't seen them in a while, so we're going to be there for a few days. So we will take a break off for that week. But after that, we'll be back with some major renovation.
Big stuff, fun stuff.
Yes, and we're super excited. So
stay tuned.
Yeah, so stay tuned. We hope that you're having a wonderful weekend, and we thank you for joining us as always. Thank you to all of the subscribers, our OG subscribers, and also the new ones that we keep seeing every week popping up. We're so grateful and so excited to see you. Welcome.
Welcome.
And if you would like to not ever miss an episode, please press the notification bell in the corner so you can get notified when a video is up, so you won't miss any. And if you hit subscribe, you can be a member of our Brambleberry family.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for joining us.
I did all the talking. Have a great day, guys.